So ESPN graced us with a list of top 10 best wrestlers so far of 2024 when it comes to the men. And this is an interesting list. I think it's pretty well balanced, but I want to know what you fellas think about it. So MJF is actually at number 10 at the very bottom of the list. But again, this is the top 10 best. So when I say bottom, don't get too twisted. No. And also, come on, Kenny, I wasn't even thinking about that. MJF has not been around, right? He's been injured for this year. So I guess it makes sense. But what do you think about it, Kenny? Does it make sense for
like when you said MJF number 10, it kind of struck a chord in my mind, like, what? But then I thought about it, like, yeah, he has been pretty much out since what was it? Wrestle Dynasty, Wrestle Dream. What's in December?
World's End.
World's End.
We were at that paper.
He's been out since World's End.
You were there, yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so I guess MJF number 10, he makes the list. So him being out as long as he was and still making the list, big W.
Omer, do you think the same?
Yeah, I mean, like, he is, in my view, he is the best talent of any wrestler in the world. Like, he's that 5-tool player. He can do it all. Like, the only reason, right, that he's not, like, as big as star, and again, that term is, I think, very subjective, is because he doesn't have that WWE machine pushing him. And that is not, like, trying to slight anyone else on this list. It's just the truth. Like, MJF is just literally better than everyone else right now. He's on a different level. We saw that play out this past week on Dynamite. Like, it's just true. And when he is, I think, like, when he has that time on TV and he's given the opportunities, I think he's going to prove to everyone why he belongs in the top 10, even when he hasn't been around for a while.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think it just needs the time to put the work back in. And by the end of the year, we might just see him at a number 5, maybe at a number 1. I don't know. The year's pretty much coming to an end now. It'll be tough for him. But yeah, it makes sense. Actually, someone who passed him over at number 9 is Kazuchika Okada, the Mr. I'm sorry guy. He managed to do it, man. I don't even know what champion he is. Is he Intercontinental? Omer, do you know?
Watch the show, Kendall. Come on now. Watch the show.
We watch it every week, bro, but it's too many belts.
Well, you gotta.
Yeah, he got his from Eddie Kingston. The Continental.
Gotta watch it on regular speed, man. The Continental Championship.
Yeah, a Continental. Okay, he's over MJF. Do you think that's okay? Do you think that's fair?
It's fair in the respect that he's been around and he's accomplished quite a good deal in his time in AEW. Think about it. Became the Continental Champion, had a baller debut, won Anarchy in the arena with his team, and he has evolved this like character of Okada into like what many longtime Okada fans believe to be the best version of Okada, the most charismatic version. And again, he's not going to be the guy who comes out and cuts these like impassioned 20-minute promos. That's not what the product is. That's not what, the fans of AEW want. It's not what most wrestling fans want, if we're being honest. But he is going to show enough charisma, enough character. Like, I know that you guys aren't personally fans of the I'm sorry bitches thing, but to a lot of people, like, that became a meme. It went viral. It became like a really like funny thing that happened online. And this heel run that Okada has been on, I think, is something that, people like not going to say didn't know that he's capable of, but like didn't know that we could get. And I think it's way better than, honestly, anything he probably would have been doing in WWE. That's just my personal opinion. And I don't know. I love this personality. I love him being this like Ferrari driving, like maniacal heel. I'm a fan.
Kenny?
No. Young man should not be on this list. I mean, shouts out to him. I understand his appeal is not going to be his promo work, so I think his promo work that he's doing would have been fine. But I haven't seen like a banger match from him in AEW yet. Like a match that's going to stand out in your mind, like one that he had, like a Swerve Strickland or Will Ospreay match. They've been tearing it down every time we see him. But Okada, I don't know if it's because of the promos that they're not connecting with me, but I can't tell you one banger match he's had so far.
Him versus Pocket Dynasty. Go watch it.
Oh, that was a good match. That was fair enough. I like that match. I remember it.
I saw it. We probably did a live stream on it. I don't remember.
That's why I remember it. Yeah, but yeah, Okada. If this was New Japan Okada, I say put him on this list right now. The impact of what he's doing, even though he's doing a lot, is just not there for me either. So yeah. But after Okada, we got what's
I'm gonna add another wrinkle here. I just said Okada should not be on this list. If y'all think a wrestler shouldn't be on this list, take a wrestler down who you think should replace him. I got mine who should be in here instead.
Take him down. Okay.
Take him down.
We'll see. We'll see. Damian Priest is someone that asked me a couple of weeks ago. I would have probably taken him down off of this list. But I think as a champion, at least he's there. At least he's present. And it hasn't been absolutely horrible. No aura, though. Obviously, they need to, I think, get the title away from him soon enough. But I thought he did a decent job. And because he is the world champion of the other brand, and because he's been around and doing more stuff, basically being integral to Raw's existence right now, I think this is a fair placement, but it is kind of crazy to see him here. But when you think about it, I think it makes sense. Damian Priest at a number 8. But let's start with Kenny this time. What do you think, man?
You know what? I think he hasn't been terrible since he's been the champion. And just based off of his match he had with I don't remember none of the matches, y'all. He had that match at the last pay-per-view where he hurt his leg.
Drew McIntyre.
I really respected the performance because I really thought he was hurt.
Yeah.
He went in there and he overperformed. That spot happened. It was unfortunate, but he thugged through the match and he made it look like he was actually hurt. So I was like, this guy's about to be out for a while. Then it came out that he was just selling. So big respect to Damian Priest. I think he definitely does deserve to be on this list. Big home.
So here's the thing. This is not a dig or meant to be a dig at Damian Priest. Like, I think he is definitely in the top 15 conversation for me for this year. And I understand he's the world champion. I understand all that kind of stuff. But how are you going to have this list this year and not include Seth Rollins? Like, that is my big
save it for the end, big home.
Were we? I didn't know that was a segment. That was you gotta tell me
cool,
that.
Yeah, I
agree. I'm
right.
with you. I took off Okada and put Seth Rollins there, but so yeah, you agree. Both of us agree Seth Rollins should be on this list. But we just told them Seth Rollins isn't on the list now, so we blew it.
It's all right. Let's just continue. So what's your point about him?
My bad, guys. Anyway, but yeah, the thing with Seth Rollins is this is someone who's done everything that was asked of him and more. Torn MCL, torn meniscus, fought hard through WrestleMania season to not only deliver back-to-back nights of performances. He wrestled a match, took the brunt of the force in the night 1 match against Roman and The Rock, and then opens Mania the next night after main eventing the night before, loses his title in a banger match with Drew McIntyre, and then ends up coming back out in the main event. I understand, we want to talk about Cody, The Rock, all that kind of stuff. Everyone deserves their flowers. I don't think there's a more underrated performer for that entire Mania weekend than Rollins. I don't think there's a more underrated, as we can see by this list, performer this year than Rollins. He turned that world title into something. Which is more than we could have said if anyone else had held that belt. And I don't know. I feel like at this point, I would have him above Damian Priest.
Right. Well, someone who would have a great match with Seth Rollins is, I feel like, Bryan Danielson, who is number 7 on this list. And I feel like this is deserved. I would like to see him succeed more, win more titles, be in more important storylines. But every time this man gets in the ring, he just does something insane and something usually pretty memorable. So yeah, Bryan Danielson, best wrestler, one of the best in the world, period. And I'm not surprised he's on this list either.
I'm not surprised he's on the list. Should he be higher on this list would be my question. But I mean, the guy's put his time in. He's at the tail end of his career. So I think 7 is definitely fair.
It's fair.
Yeah. Big home.
Yeah. I mean, he's the greatest of all time, in my opinion. 2 words for y'all. Reverse Montreal. Let's do it. Garo wants to talk about Bryan winning. Tony Khan, you know what to do. He gets in that ring, that world championship match with Swerve. Have him lock that bell lock in on Swerve and then immediately tap. Ring that bell. I want Tony Khan out there saying, ring that effing bell. I want Bryan spitting on him. How dare you make me win this match? This is going to be great.
Well, I don't know if the next upcoming name is great, though. Jon Moxley at a number 6. I take exception with this because He's done nothing to me or for me. I think his matches are just generic, just like death match, dude. Let's go. And I feel like he's just lost it at this point. I think he's actually gone crazy. It's not even his character anymore. The BBC, well, that doesn't do anything for me either because they're super inconsistent. I mean, William Regal, as soon as he backstabbed Tony and played him like a fiddle, the BBC was over for me. So John Moxley has just fallen from grace. I do wish he was in the WWE and doing that Shield storyline. Imagine if he was at WrestleMania. I think he's just wasting his potential here. And I'm disappointed because he used to be a wrestler I liked a lot. He's just, I think, kind of like Chris Jericho for me. Whenever he's on screen, I'm like, next segment. I'm honest. I'm being completely honest, man. I'm telling you the truth.
Kenny, can I please take this? Oh, Kero, I like you and I. We sometimes disagree, but like we kind of understand. I don't understand anywhere of where you're coming from, my guy. Like this is like I can't even like comprehend this because John Moxley to me has been another guy who's been like one of the most underrated guys in the entire like wrestling scene. What he has been able to accomplish on a global scale is definitely lost on us. This is a guy who, remember, like was the IWGP champion while also appearing in AEW. And I'm glad that the voters here, that the ESPN voters here actually took notice of New Japan. That's not a thing that they usually do. I'm so glad that happened because it doesn't negate the work that he did. Having a banger match with Naito to win that championship, way better than this match at Forbidden Door. We don't want to talk about that. But having a banger match with Naito at that Chicago New Japan show, defending the belt against Ren Narita, Shota Umino. Like, John Moxley has helped grow the brand of AEW in Japan even more than it already was. I think that whenever he's out there, like, he makes that show feel special. His entrance is honestly still, if you're there live, and if you're ever going to an AEW show, make sure you're sitting in the lower bowl, because I'm telling you, when that John Moxley entrance happens, it's like a must-see thing. Like, people following him around, everyone's like at the front with their cameras. Like, he's a star. Dude is a great wrestler. I love his character. 10 out of 10. Should be number one.
Okay.
Not really.
Well, Big Om, you make a great argument there, but Kiro, you're very harsh on the man. But I'm more on the side. I lean on the side of Kiro. I agree to the point where they kind of, I feel like we get too much John Moxley, and I think it kind of took away from him. Just like Seth Rollins. I thought at one point Seth Rollins was the best wrestler in the world, but he just comes out there and does his same thing week after week after week. The gimmick sucks, and I think it hurts him. John Moxley, I just kind of turn my brain off when he comes out. I'm like, oh, okay, it's Mox again. Like, I don't feel that star power coming off of him anymore. So he deserves to be on the list, but I would say maybe we reshuffle it, put him at 10, and bump everybody else up 1.
Yeah, sure. I don't have him on the list. I'll be honest. I am harsh on him, yeah. But Drew McIntyre is next up, and that makes him, I think, number 5, which just off of the character work alone and the promos he's able to cut this year, the moment with CM Punk, just his whole arc, I guess, from babyface to slowly turning heel, that's been going on for more than a year now. Every single time this man is on my TV, I watch him. I'm interested in what he's going to say. Even just, very recently, he made a joke about Jey Uso. How did you get across the border or something like that? This man is messed up. This man should be locked up, but he isn't. He's on our TV. And I mean, he's always been great in the ring. Like, he doesn't have that, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika got a 6-star match, but he always delivers, I think, enough. So I definitely think he should be on this list, especially this year. And him being at number 5, I feel like that is well deserved. I see other names. I would put him higher. I would maybe put him higher.
I was just going to say, I would actually swap 4 and 5. We'll get to number 4, and I really like number 4, but I would swap 4 and 5 because Drew McIntyre, he saved himself. Yeah. Because after the pandemic and everything, he like kind of got in a hole where I was like, oh yeah, this guy, he'll never recover. They're just not putting him in the right spots. Cancel Christmas on him. It's done for Drew. He'll never get back up.
You're right.
And he got himself back in the top spot. And right now, I can see him having the main championship because he has been entertaining. Seems like he stepped it up another gear. As this guy gets older, he just gets better and better and better. So I would put him at number 4. But yeah, I really like the guy at number 4 too. So definitely deserve.
And like, I mean, I think we all have the same thoughts. So maybe we just talk about it. Like number 4 on this list, is Gunther, and we all love and respect Gunther, but I would definitely swap those two as well. And here's the thing, right? It is crazy where Drew McIntyre was the night of the Royal Rumble before Punk tears his tricep. For all intents and purposes, Drew was probably going to AEW. Like that was the trajectory we were on, because the character, everything was just, like that was the prevailing sentiment. That was what a lot of people were saying, and everything that's happened has been done by Drew. It is like WWE. The only credit they can take for the rejuvenation of the Drew McIntyre character is that it was on their platform. That was it. And what we have seen has honestly been something special. It is something that, like, I think we're gonna look back on and just be like, it is insane how, like, over he got this, like, and how hard he worked to do it. I like, if there was like a hardest character work this year, it would go to Drew McIntyre, number 1. Like, but he definitely deserves to be on this list. Shout out to him.
For sure.
Okay, so
but
let's
you mentioned Gunther.
Yeah.
Had a great title run. I think after WrestleMania, it's been kind of quiet for him, even though he won the King of the Ring. I feel like they're just holding and waiting. Kenny? They kind of got
Did he win?
Oh no, he lost at WrestleMania, right? But he won
WrestleMania. Okay.
No, I'm saying at King of the Ring. Did he really win? The shoulders were up.
Oh yeah, they never revisited it, so I guess they're gonna give it to him. So, hey, my boy got the W. He's on a trajectory. I think he is going to get that championship at SummerSlam. So it's up for him. And I think he deserves it because he has performed well.
You're right. So by the end of the year, maybe him being at number 4 would be deserved because he's going to be that world champion. But I mean, still, he has awesome matches. Like, he's my favorite wrestler right now. Like, as far as in-ring competition goes, he just makes everything so much fun to watch. He needs to work on that character, which he's been getting at, like, better at with the promos and the character work when he's on the stick. But yeah, he needs to be more graceful out there. Not graceful, but you get what I mean. So right now, he's definitely below Drew McIntyre for me. We'll see by the end of the year. I still think, even with everything he accomplished with the King of the Ring and winning the World Championship, which we look at as a foregone conclusion, Drew has just done so much revolutionary work this year that I think he needs to be higher than Gunther, regardless of when we're talking about this. But that's just me. Omer, you got something to say about Gunther?
Great wrestler. He's like always going to be a top 10 in my book. He's like also one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. But the big question is kind of, I think, especially recently, has been like, where is he? Where is he fitting into things? Like, what's he doing? And it feels like for a lot of time, even before Mania, like that was like a question. It's like, okay, we all know Gunther's IC champion, but like, what's he doing of consequence? And I think that really is the separator between him and Drew, in my view. Like, aside from that, like, I'm not going to say that he shouldn't be like number 4 on someone's list. He just wouldn't be number 4 on mine right now.
Fair enough. Well, would Swerve Strickland be number 3 on your list?
100%. Yeah, actually. Like, I would have Swerve at number 3. Yep. 100%. And the reason is, I think that we all knew that the rise of Swerve Strickland was like undeniable late last year when he had that Full Gear match, that insane match with Adam Page.
Yeah.
Like, that's when we knew, like, okay, it's going to happen at some point. But like the story they've told, like with him and Adam Page, and like now that might be coming back soon. I think that combined with just the unrelenting in-ring work and like the vibe that Swerve has kind of built about him, like, and I think nothing was more true than like this past pay-per-view at Forbidden Door. That aura that people like to talk about, that vibe when he walks in the room, like that was, I don't think there's a better example of like that being real than at that pay-per-view. It felt like this is the world champion. This company's on his shoulders. He knows it, and he's going to own it. And again, there's another guy on this list we'll talk about. He also had a fantastic match with that guy that I believe is the match of the year. So shout out to him.
Kenny?
Yeah. When Swerve came in, I didn't see him being an AEW champion. You know, these guys come in and you always like him, Keith Lee. Like you think these guys are going to do something when they get there, but I'm just like, all right, he's just going to be another guy on the roster. But I mean, you could tell he was like pushing to get this spot. He was pushing, trying to figure it out. He had different stables he was running with, and I was like, these stables just aren't going to work. They aren't doing anything for him. But when he found Prince Nana, like it was just that little piece that he was missing, and it just gelled so well. It caught the people, and then people were looking at him, and then he started building onto his character, going into Hangman's house, started going dark on his eyes, and that's just somebody who like realizes they need a character. We look at how he was in WWE. He was just a skinny guy, like he didn't have his man body yet. Came to AEW, found his man body, and he made himself look like a champion. Now, I mean, I think he worked himself into this position, so he does deserve it. I would give him this number. I may even give him a number 2 spot, just based off of everything he's been doing, the matches he's been having. But I mean, how could you argue with number 2 here? If y'all ready to get into it, we definitely can.
Well, I'll say something real quick about Strickland. Like, yeah,
you already did. My bad.
Come on, Kenny, just trying to go into business for yourself, like you're Cody Rhodes. But he came in there and he caught fire. I don't remember when it happened. I guess it's Prince Nana, but yeah, like it happened so out of nowhere for me. I wasn't really following him closely either. And I appreciate all the hard work he's put in, not just in his matches. I think he was always good in the ring anyways, but before getting the championship, you could clearly see that he wasn't confident, and he keeps on building and getting better and better. And I really appreciate that. And he's doing that at the same time, like you said, Omer, as he's carrying the company. Whenever I think about AEW, the thing I care about the most is like, what is Swerve doing? Because he's always doing something cool or interesting. And I think that's a real testament. And I would definitely have him on this list. And yeah, maybe even as high as this. Swerve has been awesome. I have a lot of criticism that I would like to do for, AEW, but the stuff they've done with Swerve, although it's not perfect, I think it's some of their best stuff ever. So I got no qualms about this either. Like, yeah, for sure. Number 2, though, Kenny, since you want to talk about him so much, Will Ospreay, bruv.
So Will Ospreay, good on the mic. Does he have a character yet? I think he's trying to be like the witty guy. He makes some jokes here and there. But, I mean, I really don't know what his character is. He cuts good promos. He has great matches. I mean, as we just were talking about earlier, he's had 7 matches this year that were over 5 stars rated by Dave Meltzer. Now, y'all weigh that on a scale of whatever, but the guy's been doing it for a long time, and the wrestlers do look up to his rating. So, I mean, it speaks for itself. I think Will Ospreay has the potential to be AEW's John Cena, but he has to find that missing thing like Prince Nana was for Swerve, because you can have all the banger matches, but if the people aren't connecting with you at that next level, like that John Cena level, I don't know. I don't know if he can actually get that far, but I mean, he has the potential. He just has to find it, and he just has to keep pushing and get there. So number 2 is a good spot for him.
So this is actually, ironically enough, where I probably have the biggest gripe with this list. I think number 2 and number 1 should be reversed. But we'll spoil what number 1 is. But
I was going to cut number 1, so let's just...
we'll talk about number 1 in just a sec. But I don't think there's any wrestler who's had a better year this year than Will Ospreay. I think what AEW has done with him has been perfect, like literally perfect, and like not missed a single beat from his debut, like his official debut at Revolution, facing off in a banger match with Konosuke Takeshita, and having him like go out there and put on that fantastic like interfamilial like Don Callis family match, like just to find out who's the best, right? His first test in AEW passes with flying, soaring colors. Then, as like what I dubbed even before it happened to be the greatest wrestling match of all time. And honestly, it lived up to the hype for me because I got to witness it live, and witnessing the match of the year that him and Swerve Strickland put on this past pay-per-view at Forbidden Door was awesome. And Kenny, you talk about like connecting, right? I have had the opportunity now this year to see to see Will Ospreay. Been talking about a lot of wrestlers lately, but I've had the opportunity to see Will Ospreay live 3 times just this year. And each time on the shows that he's on, he's getting the loudest reactions. Like part of that entrance song, when if people are singing it, like at Forbidden Door, it did not come across for whatever reason on TV And that's like another separate situation. AEW's got to figure out their mics. They're horribly mic'd. But in the arena, everyone was singing his song. Like it was like, I'm not gonna say it was like exactly the same as Cody Rhodes. He gets, yes, people are singing his song way louder. But like when it gets to that part where it's like Osprey, where they're literally saying his name, deafening. So I think he is connecting with a larger basis of the fan base, and with his next opponent likely to be MJF, I think this like build up of him and what it means to be Will Ospreay is going to take us somewhere else. Like sometimes it's not as clear in the beginning, but it's a slow burn. And I'm telling you, when he gets that AEW World Title, it's gonna be great.
Think that's the piece he's missing? Like, you think that'll get him to that next level where he's peak?
I think so. Like, look at what it did for Swerve, right?
Yeah,
like it took him to a whole different level. But I also want to like caution this. I think everyone kind of was like, okay, yeah, he's gonna win it at like, All In or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be right now, right? Because there's so many stories we still need to tell with Swerve Strickland. Like, Will Ospreay is good enough that he can own the international championship. Like that's how good he is. He can own that feud going into All In with an MJF. So there's so much story I think he needs to tell before he goes back to the world title picture. I love it. He should be number one though. Like I'm so, and that is again not a slight, but I just genuinely believe he's been the best wrestler of the year.
So the thing you said about him owning the title, it feels like Cody Rhodes with the TNT Championship to me. He's a big name, and he made that title, and like that's why it was so important in the beginning. I feel like Ospreay can definitely do that. I'm kind of torn. I might put Swerve over Will Ospreay just because Swerve, what he does is bigger for the company because he is the world champion. I take nothing away from Will Ospreay. I think it's great. I've been following the guy ever since 2016, like closely. Basically, his indie days, New Japan days, when he came to AEW, he's outshined my expectations, and I love everything that's that's been done to him in AEW. And they better not screw him up because this is one of their next big stars. They're John Cena's or Roman Reigns or whatever. And the fact that he chose AEW, because I'm sure the offer for WWE was there, I think he's loyal to the company. I think he likes it. It's a home run. So overall, when I look at Ospreay's career, I think it's going to be up there. But this year, I just feel like Swerve has done more. To me, I feel like I would put him there at number 2, and Ospreay would be a very close number 3 for me. But number one is someone we already kind of talked about. It's Cody Rhodes. Cody Raheem Rhodes. Now, I'll give my 2 cents on him really quickly. If this was the last 4 or 5 months, and this was just talking about that, he'd be not on here. He'd be like number 50. But we cannot ignore what happened before and after WrestleMania. That was just legendary stuff. That was just once in a lifetime type of deal. So even though there is a lot of things I don't like about Cody Rhodes, I get on him all the time, you guys know, I got to give it to him. I mean, what he was involved in, just speaking on this list alone, sure, I'll put him on number 1. But like you said, Kenny, there's a couple of people that deserve to be on here as well that isn't on this list. So we'll talk about that later. But that's my thought on Cody Rhodes. Kenny, what do you think?
I think Cody Rhodes should not be number 1. I think the only reason he is number 1 is because of the stuff that happened before WrestleMania and the fact that he's the WWE champion. That's the number 1 championship in the business, without a doubt. I think Cody Rhodes should be number 5.
Ooh.
I'm going Swerve Strickland. No. I'm going The Rock. Because how do we leave The Rock off of this list? Is that just because he only wrestled at WrestleMania? This guy did the biggest business all year. So I'm going The Rock number 1, Swerve Strickland number 2, Will Ospreay number 3, Drew McIntyre number 4, Cody Rhodes number 5. Because, I mean, Cody Rhodes, again, big storyline before WrestleMania, but afterwards it tanked. We saw him on that WrestleMania documentary asking Triple H, what's next? And Triple H said, that's for me to figure out, buddy. And they didn't figure it out. Because what has Cody Rhodes done since WrestleMania? I think he's been on a downhill slope. And you got these other guys like Drew McIntyre, who has been excelling even though he's been injured. Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland on the rise. Like, these guys have been rising ever since. And The Rock, come on, man. He came in there, did what he had to do, and he left. And I think that was enough for him to be on this list throughout the year, no matter what happened. So that's my top 5.
Yeah, I think that's pretty damn fair, man. That's pretty damn fair. Omer, what do you think?
I think I would probably put Cody at number 2 behind Will Ospreay. Actually, no, I definitely would put Cody at number 2 behind Will Ospreay. I think that for the first half of the year, like the stuff that they did with Cody, and again, what WWE did with Cody was like weird. It took me literally until I saw that match at WrestleMania to like really get into it because I was just so frustrated. That moment was just insane, though. Like it is genuinely one of the biggest moments in wrestling history. I'm not going to say the biggest. I'm not going to speak in hyperbole. But that being said, Cody has had great matches with AJ Styles since he won the title. And for as much as Will Ospreay's like run in AEW this year has been like perfect, I think Cody's has been like kind of inversely imperfect. Like, because he had that big moment, he puts on great matches, and it's one of, again, this is like more of a Triple H thing, right? My biggest gripe with Triple H booking is like the time in between these big moments or these big pay-per-views.
Yeah,
it just feels like, especially with Cody, especially with the world champions, it's just kind of filler. And I love, don't get me wrong, Cody's integration with the Bloodline was not for me. I thought he was the wrong person to integrate that with. Why is he still doing it? And and again, that's just like a microcosm. But I would still have him at number 2. He's like a great wrestler. He puts on great matches. I thought that he got one of, if not Roman's best match out of him. And the only thing weighing him down is just like inconsistency in the creative and inconsistency with the way he comes across as a character. Like, I still don't know. For as Kenny was saying, like, I don't know what Will Ospreay is. What is Cody Rhodes? Like what does, I knew what the American Nightmare meant in like 2018, right, Carol? 2019. I knew what that meant. I don't know what that is now. And like that's the biggest disconnect for me.
It's fair. I mean, I think the biggest thing Cody Rhodes had is the story, but now the story's finished. So what's your motivations? What are we doing?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much the list, but I just want to ask, just to name a couple of names. Do you think these guys should have been on the list? Like, say, for example, Chad Gable.
Yes. I was thinking about him earlier. Chad Gable should have been on here. Roman Reigns should have been on here.
Roman Reigns, just because of the main event and everything like that.
Probably is a good one.
What about someone like a Sami Zayn?
Not for me.
What about
last year? Yes. Oh, yeah. Not this year.
Jey Uso? What do you think? Because he's literally the poster child. Not this year.
Last year, yes. This year, no.
Okay. Just a second. Any other stand?
I didn't know how to cut a promo until I went to New Japan for a month.
We'll talk about him in a second. Quick fire time, though. More people that just say, should he be on this list? For example, LA Knight. Top 10.
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
That's big on. No.
Nah.
Yeah, fair enough. He's not done anything this year, to be honest with you. If he wins the Money in the Bank, we'll talk about it. Christian Cage from AEW.
Yes.
I
think our father Christian Cage should be on this list. Yes.
Christian Cage should definitely be top 10, but he's paying that AEW tax. That's the only reason he didn't get on there.
Oh, okay. I feel like, you could replace someone with Christian Cage because he's been crazy.
Okada.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I like that. But Omer, you got something else to say?
I mean, put Christian on the list. Like, who's been a better heel in the past year than Christian Cage?
What about Samoa Joe? Has he been better?
He killed AEW.
He has been way better than Samoa Joe, yes.
He stuck a dagger in AEW's heart.
That's fair enough. Untrue. Well, what about Kenosuke Takeshita?
Yes. Top 15, I would say. In the ring, if you're just talking about strict ring work.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's definitely in there.
Mike piece, because,
his booking has been weird.
So bad because he's one of the best in the world.
What about Adam Copeland?
Not after jumping off the cage, landing on his feet. Like, what are you doing?
Man, he's had some bangers this year, though. Like
bro, that's a stupid mistake.
It was really bad. Kenny and I were talking about it on the stream. It was like, oof. I would say top 15, top 20 for sure.
I would have to agree. So your boy now, Homer, Jack Perry.
All right, I'm ready to get cooked. Jack Perry should be top 10.
Okay.
Character work.
I need you to stand on it, Big Om. Who we taking off the list for Jack Perry?
All right, so here's the thing. I already took. Easy, baby. Easy. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
Look, we talked about MJF, right? Great heel, great stuff. Has not been around in 2024 so far. Pushing him down to number 11. We'll put Jack Perry in at that number 10 spot.
I like it.
People are gonna act like I'm capping here. I'm not. The dude changed himself. Like Jack Perry in September of 2023 versus Jack Perry now, completely two like different individuals. He has one of the better promos in AEW right now. Like if you watch his backstage segments that they post online, oh my god, fire! Like this man went to New Japan for a cup of coffee, learned how to talk. This is why every wrestler should go to New Japan. You want to learn how to cut a good promo? Go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's the truth. I don't know what to tell you,
can't
bro.
deny it. I can't argue with you.
You can't deny it.
I can.
But yeah, I
He's been kind of
think,
mid.
and like the way he's been elevated, I think he's been great.
I wouldn't put him on the list. I don't. He's been inconsistent, but I like the fact that he won the TNT Championship. I want to see him do more.
I think he's been inconsistent since he came back. He's been good.
Nah, he's
His
been.
promos were terrible before he left.
I think it was
He's
alright.
back on another level.
Those little much mouth promos. I'm Jack Barry.
Come on,
like
man.
you, Hook. I don't like what
Those
you
are
said
beautiful.
about me.
Come
He was
on.
like a corny
And now
heel
it's like-
who couldn't cut a promo, but
I was
he's
like,
good now.
Pete Kenny Omega. like Don Callis.
Who
Anyhow,
else you got for us, kiddo?
the last but not least, the Phenom, the Deadman, the
Come on,
Undertaker.
Come on, man. My boy came out at the end of WrestleMania. That's enough to get him on the list. Put him at number one.
Number one. There you
You know
go.
what? If Dave Meltzer can add 2 stars to the list, I'm going like, what's above number one? You got to put a little asterisk and put his name above the number one person.
wait, hold up. Are you going to Meltzer this by having a top 10 list with 15 people in?
Yes, exactly. Taker's going to be the one above number one.
Well,
But fellas,
just-
that takes us through our top 10 ESPN list. Should we do the women next?
yeah,
Maybe
let
we
us
gotta
know
ask
in the
people
chat.
if we do it on Monday. Let us know
No,
in the
yeah,
comments
yeah, yeah.
section.
And
We'll come
type.
back and talk about the women.
What should they type in the chat if they watched for this long in the comment section? So we know, so we can appreciate you.
Wrestle booty.
Wrestle booty.
Wait a minute. It probably won't work if we talk about women. It won't. I don't know.
No, for this video. For this video. So it should be fine.
It should be fine.
Wrestle
yeah. If
booty.
you want to see us rank the top 10 women from ESPN, put Wrestle Booty in the comment section.
That's not what I was
that
saying,
won't work.
Kenny. Oh my
No, that
god.
won't work.
Oh,
That
what?
won't work, bro.
I'm just
Did I mess
saying,
it up?
whoever watches the video up until this point, just give us a keyword so we know you watched it through here, you know?
Bro, that's the safe word.
Oh,
Wrestle
okay. That's
booty.
what I was saying. I didn't know if that was.
Okay.
No, it's
Come
not
on,
tied to the
Kenny.
women. That's just you, Kenny.
If you watched it till the end, put Wrestle Booty in the comment section.
Make sure to subscribe and give this a like. We'll be back, fellas. Kiss the ring.